Hello, my name is Lucas Peterson, and I'm a technical specialist with IBM, focusing in our data science and Watson AI portfolio. Over the next several minutes, I'm going to be introducing you to the Watson Assistant and how it can be used to build conversational interfaces into any application, device, or channel so that your business can start to automate the customer interactions with either external or internal customer bases. Our Watson Assistant demonstration is going to be taking on a simple use case where we will act as a mortgage originator company, ABC Mortgage, and where we'd like to automate the customer interactions for changing your password and accessing your tax documents. To create the Watson Assistant, we're going to follow 3 simple steps. We're first going to build a skill, deploy it within an assistant, then analyze and improve our assistant over time. We're going to start by building a skill. And a skill is the area that contains all of the training data and machine learning logic that enables your chatbot or Watson Assistant to understand and help your customers. We'll give our skill a name. Now, the first thing that we can create within our skill are intents. And you can think of intents as the goals or root intent behind a customer's question that they would like a response for. We'll create our own intent in a minute for both the retrieval of documents and the changing of password, but we'll start by taking a look at the content catalog, which has pre-built intents packaged either by use case or industry that IBM has already created. We'll see that we have things for banking, customer care, general, conversation topics, and so on. We'll take a look at the general conversation topic intents. We see some of the intents about you, what are the capabilities of the assistant, and connecting to a live agent, and so on. We'll go ahead and add all of these intents to our skill. So one of the requirements for our simple demonstration is to allow customers to change their password. So I'm going to be looking again at another pre-built package, the customer care, where I see there are certain pre-built intents around creating appointments, authorizing a user, working with an account, and so on. And I'll go ahead and add that to our skill. Back within our intents folder, we can see all of the intents that we've brought in that we can use to work with and provide responses later on in our dialogue logical flow. Let's go ahead and create our own intent for working with documents. We'll need to provide several user examples of types of questions they would ask in order to understand the intent being to work with documents. Now I've added a few user examples, things like I'd like to see my tax documents, or I need my tax documents. And Watson will use these questions and natural language understanding to find variances or different ways to ask the same intent of the question in order to understand that the customer would like access to their documents. The next item that we can create within the skill are entities. And entities are specific nouns or keywords that help us to identify the specific nature of a customer's request so that we can answer with a more targeted response. So within our documents example, we may have different types of documents that they would like access to. We can create the entity as well as the 2 different types of documents for our simple example. The first is a tax document that has synonyms such as tax sheet, tax forms, or 1098 as we are a mortgage company. The second document that a customer can interact with is their monthly statement, which has synonyms such as and bill. We also want to allow our customers to change their password, but to do so, we're going to need to capture information about them that would be stored in a customer account. So we want to provide information or entities around the customer account, which we'll call customer info. And we can provide several values for things that would be involved within the customer info. We'll stick to email to keep things simple. Instead of a synonym for email, we're going to be using the patterns to supply a syntax for the type of pattern that an email follows within our company. So the syntax is saying that the pattern can be any number of uppercase or lowercase characters, or any numbers, or any special symbols followed by an @ sign and repeating, of course. Next, we'll want to apply the logic behind our conversation so that we can start to provide responses for the intents and entities that we've created. We'll start by creating our dialogue. And we'll see that every skill comes with 2 basic dialogue nodes so that we can begin to test and work with our dialogue. The first node is always the welcome node, which is the first node or the first response that a customer sees when first logging in or interacting with our assistant. We can provide some textual response that they first see when they interact. We'll say, "Hello, I'm Watson, the ABC Mortgage Virtual Assistant. How can I help you today?" And we'll supply another response type as well in the form of an image for our company. We'll go ahead and move the image up. And now when a customer interacts with Watson, the first thing they'll see is an image followed by the textual response, "How can I help you today?" We can add a second node below our welcome image, our welcome node. And we'll begin with a general greeting, so that if a customer says hello or how are you, we can understand that and provide a response. Of course, these intents come from the pre-packaged general intents package within the content catalog. And we'll provide the following response. "Hello, good day to you." Similarly, we'll add an intent at the end for when a customer says goodbye or thank you very much. And we'll provide the following response. At any time during our creation, we can test out our dialogue flow by trying it out in the top right corner. Of course, we're met with our welcome node first, which supplies an image as well as the welcome message. We can also click within the location to see where we are within the dialogue flow. And we see that Watson is understanding the intent as a general greeting when I say hello, and it provides the correct response back. Now that we can tell that our dialogue flow is working as intended, let's continue by adding another node for the password or changing your password intent. If the assistant recognizes the intent, customer care profile password, which again is bundled within the customer care content catalog. We will respond with, "Sure, I'll need your account email." We'll also need to set context within this node so that we're able to take a variable of account email that they're likely to respond with from this text response. We'll add the variable email and provide a value, again working within the Watson Assistant syntax, that yes, we're going to be supplying a literal value for contact info. So once they've given us their account email, we'll need to create a new node that can deal with that email address and automate some sort of task to perform the password change. Then we'll respond with, "I've sent your password change link to your email that was supplied. And then we can go ahead and kick off the automation to send that email with the connections through the Watson Assistant APIs. Again, we'll need to set the context that the email was supplied. And finally, we'll continue to our last dialog node set, where we're going to help customers to interact with their documents. Again, we need to set context for the different types of documents within this dialog node. And we can answer a text response. We also want to respond with an option prompt. We'll enter a couple of values here. The first is, and the second is. So now the customer can choose which type of documents they'd like to see. Next, we'll add a child node for each of the document types. And respond with, to see your tax documents, go to the, and here's where you could supply the website or URL information for them to take a look at. We'll also add a second response type. And asked if there's anything else I can help with today. We'll create one more child node for the other document type, which is statements. And similarly respond with, to see your monthly statements, go to the following URL, as well as anything else I can help with today. Once we are satisfied with our dialog flow, we can go ahead and add this skill to its own Watson Assistant. We'll create a new assistant and add the dialog skill we just created. We can always add integrations to things such as Slack or Facebook or some kind of custom application using the Watson Assistant APIs. We already have this preview link in which we can go ahead and test out and try out our assistant. So I'll start by interacting with the Watson Assistant as if I'm a customer. I'd like to reset my password. I need to supply an email address. It says, thanks, I've sent a reset link to lucas@ibm.com. Anything else I can help with today? I'd also like to take a look at my documents. It'll ask me which type of documents I'd like to see. I'll choose my tax documents. Then I can go to the tax center that we have a website to go to. And I'll log out. And there you have it. In about 15 minutes, we've gone through how to create a Watson Assistant feature that is able to automate the interactions within your internal and external customers.